Beachy Head is a chalk headland in East Sussex, England. It is situated close to Eastbourne, immediately east of the Seven Sisters. Beachy Head is located within the administrative area of Eastbourne Borough Council, which owns the land. The cliff is the highest chalk sea cliff in Britain, rising to 162 metres above sea level. The peak allows views of the southeast coast from Dungeness in the east, to Southsea Bill in the west. Its height has also made it one of the most notorious suicide spots in the world. Geology. The chalk was formed in the late Cretaceous epoch, between 66 and 100 million years ago, when the area was under the sea. During the Cenozoic era, the chalk was uplifted. When the last ice age ended, sea levels rose and the English Channel formed, cutting into the chalk to form the dramatic cliffs along the Sussex coast. Wave action contributes towards the erosion of cliffs around Beachy Head, which experience frequent small rock falls. Since chalk forms in layers separated by contiguous bands of flints, the physical structure affects how the cliffs erode. Wave action undermines the lower cliffs, causing frequent slab failures. Slabs from layers of chalk break off, undermining the upper parts of the cliffs, which eventually collapse. In contrast to small rock falls, mass movements are less common. A mass movement happened in 2001 when, after a winter of heavy rain, the water had begun to seep into the cracks which had frozen and caused the cracks to widen. This then made the cliff edge erode and collapse into the sea, destroying a well-known chalk stack called the Devil's Chimney. History. The name Beachy Head appears as Beach F in 1274, and was Beach Af in 1317, becoming consistently Beachy Head by 1724, and has nothing to do with beach. Instead, it is a corruption of the original French words meaning beautiful headland. In 1929, Eastbourne bought 4,000 acres of land surrounding Beachy Head to save it from development at a cost of about £100,000. The prominence of Beachy Head has made it a landmark for sailors in the English Channel. It is noted as such in the sea shanty Spanish Ladies. The first land we sighted was called the Dodman. Next, Rame Head off Plymouth, off Portsmouth. The White, we sailed by Beachy, by Fairlight and Dover, and then we bore up for the South Foreland Light. The ashes of German social scientist and philosopher Friedrich Engels, one of the fathers of communism, were scattered off the cliffs at Beachy Head into the Channel, as he had requested. Lighthouse. The headland was a danger to shipping. In 1831, construction began on the Beltout Lighthouse on the next headland west from Beachy Head. Because mist and low clouds could hide the light of Beltout, Beachy Head Lighthouse was built in the sea below Beachy Head. At war, the third day of fighting in the Battle of Portland in 1653 took place off Beachy Head during the First Anglo-Dutch War. The Battle of Beachy Head in 1690 was a naval engagement during the 9 Years' War. The so-called Second Battle of Beachy Head took place over a week in September 1916 during the First World War. 3 German U-boats sank 30 merchant ships between Beachy Head and the Eddystone. This was despite a major effort involving the Royal Navy and 49 destroyers, 48 torpedo boats, 7 Q ships and 468 auxiliaries. During the Second World War, the Royal Air Force established a forward relay station at Beachy Head to improve radio communications with aircraft. In 1942, signals were picked up at Beachy Head which were identified as TV transmissions from the Eiffel Tower. The Germans had reactivated the pre-war TV transmitter and instituted a Franco-German service for military hospitals and VIPs in the Paris region. The RAF monitored these programs, hoping to gather intelligence from newsreels. There was also an important wartime radar station in the area, and during the Cold War, a radar control center was operational in an underground bunker from 1953 to 1957. Tourism. West from Beltout, the cliffs drop down to Birling Gap, and beyond that the Seven Sisters. The area is a popular tourist attraction. Birling Gap has a restaurant and, in the summer, multiple ice cream vans serve the area. Suicide spot. There are an estimated 20 deaths by suicide a year at Beachy Head. The Beachy Head chaplaincy team conducts regular day and evening patrols of the area in attempts to locate and stop potential jumpers. Workers at the pub and taxi drivers are also on the lookout for people contemplating suicide, and there are posted signs with the telephone number of the Samaritans urging potential jumpers to call them. Deaths at the site are well covered by the media, and Ross Hardy, the founder of the chaplaincy team, says that this encourages suicidal people to choose the site. Worldwide, the landmark's suicide rate is surpassed only by the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco and the Aokigahara Woods in Japan. According to Thomas Meany of the Wall Street Journal, between 1965 and 1979, there were 124 deaths at the location. Of these, S.J. Surtees wrote that 115 of them were almost certainly suicides, and that 61% of the victims were from outside East Sussex. The earliest reports of deaths come from the 7th century. After a steady increase in deaths between 2002 and 2005, there were only 7 fatalities in 2006, a marked decrease. The Maritime and Coast Guard Agency, whose Coast Guard rescue teams are responsible for the rescue of injured jumpers and the recovery of the deceased, attributed the reduction to the work of the chaplaincy team and good coverage of services by the local media. At least 26 people died at the site in 2008. Use in entertainment and media. In film, the 1980 film Hopscotch with Walter Matthau and Glenda Jackson had a flying scene that included a mid-air explosion over the cliffs with the lighthouse in view below. The 2010 remake of Graham Greene's Brighton Rock was filmed extensively on Beachy Head as well as in nearby Eastbourne, which was preferred to Brighton. It made a short appearance in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, where Chitty fell off it and then flew for the first time. In the 2005 film Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Beachy Head was used as hosting grounds for the 1994 Quidditch World Cup. It is well known for the closing scene of Quadrophenia, where Phil Daniels rides a scooter from the top of Beachy Head. The cliff was used in the opening sequence to the 1987 James Bond film The Living Daylights, in which Bond parachuted from a Land Rover which overshot the top of the cliff in a scene which was scripted as being in Gibraltar. The area is used as a backdrop in many key scenes in Jenny Downham's 2007 young adult novel Before I Die and in its 2012 film adaptation directed by Ol Parker Now Is Good. In literature and publications, Eastbourne-born poet Andrew Franks includes a number of references to Beachy Head in his work, including Belt Out in his collection, The Last of the Great British Traitors. The British Romantic poet Charlotte Turner Smith published a poem entitled Beachy Head in Howard Jacobson's 2010 Man Booker Prize-winning novel, The Finkler Question. The bereaved widower Liba Sevchik commits suicide by jumping off the cliff at Beachy Head. The female protagonist in Brian Sibley's Yet Another Partridge, a radio play, throws herself off Beachy Head in despair. In music, the location was used as the setting for the music video of the 1980 David Bowie song, Ashes to Ashes. Beachy Head was also the setting for The Cure's Just Like Heaven and Close to Me videos. Downtempo group Mechanical Mez 2004 track EP I Like included a song called Beachy Head, which was then remixed by the British electronic music artist Bonobo. After releasing the remix Beachy Head on their second EP I Like mixes in 2001, Bonobo featured it on his compilation album One-Offs, Remixes and B-Sides in 2002. Local Eastbourne band The Removalists also shot the video for Last Train to Solvay at Beachy Head. The cover photo of English avant-garde quartet Throbbing Gristle's 1979 record 20 Jazz Funk Greats was taken at Beachy Head. There is also a track named Beachy Head on the album. British indie pop band Veronica Falls released a song titled Beachy Head, urging people not to commit suicide in September 2010. In reference to this location, the band Easy World originally formed and recorded demos under the name Beachy Head, before changing their name just prior to signing with Fierce Panda Records. Comedy musician Mitch Benn makes mention of Beachy Head in his 2013 song, The South Downs Cowboy. Alternative rock band Nada Surf mentions Beachy Head in The Fox, a song from their 2008 album Lucky. The location is referenced in the song, Running Wild, on the album, Undertow, by the British band Drenger. In television, Beachy Head was mentioned on the British sitcom, Are You Being Served? Season 2 Episode 1, The Clock, and My Hero, Season 6 Episode 2. Here's one I made earlier. Beachy Head is briefly shown in a segment in Many Happy Returns, an episode of the British TV series The Prisoner, starring Patrick McGoohan. When Number 6 temporarily escapes from the village, he arrives on shore beneath the cliffs of Beachy Head. After he makes his way up the cliffs, there is a brief view of the lighthouse as seen from the top of the cliff. Belt Out Lighthouse and the surrounding area are shown throughout the BBC TV series The Life and Loves of a She-Devil, shown in 1986. Beachy Head was a topic in the 10th season of Chi. The episode is the 7th installment of the series and is titled Journalism, for the British television show Top Gear. One of the show's presenters, Jeremy Clarkson, paid tribute to the Jaguar E-Type on its 50th anniversary atop Beachy Head. Series 17 Episode 1, the 26th of June 2011. On radio in the Goon Show episode, The Curse of Frankenstein, Eccles tells the story of how a man paid him to commit suicide for him by jumping off Beachy Head. He had to repay the money because when he got back to the top he discovered the man was still alive.